Back onto the big interview of the day, Infosys CEO Vishal Sikka has played down the threat to the Indian IT industry post Donald Trump be elected as the US president. Here are the key highlights from that exclusive interview. Firstly, he said that headwinds in the form of Donald Trump, Brexit and the slump in the banking and financial services business or BFSI is simply overstated. That's the categorical assertion from Vishal Sikka. Secondly, he also played down the threat to the company's 8 to 9% growth guidance. He in fact promised that there will be no RBS-like clients pulling out. Sikka also revealed that Infosys has a big M&A pipeline, hinting clearly that some big-ticket deals could be around the corner. Sikka also asserted that he absolutely stood by the $20 billion revenue target by 2020. That's something that the company had projected earlier. Sikka also believes that the Indian IT landscape will actually look very different in a few years and not too many companies will actually survive. Finally, Vishal Sikka also broke his silence for the first time on the controversy surrounding Rajiv Bansal's severance pay. He said that the company has moved on from it and it was simply a frivolous matter. Here's Vishal Sikka speaking exclusively with Shereen Bhan at the Infosys headquarters in Bengaluru.
I think that, the President-elect Trump is obviously a great entrepreneur himself, and he is himself a great American entrepreneurial success story. So I imagine that the entrepreneurial culture of the Valley is something that will appeal to him, resonate with him very well. I know that the campaign was a very bitter one and so on, but I think that governance is different than campaigning.
But so far, from the comments that we've heard from him, it doesn't look like he's backing down on any of the rhetoric that people assume he would back down from.
I think that ultimately we expect that it's a very pro-business, pro-capitalism, pro-American government that is coming.
So when pro-American, does it necessarily mean anti-globalization? Does it mean anti-outsourcing? Does it mean anti-Indian IT?
No, it doesn't have to be. I think that it is a pro-innovation, pro-delivering value, and I think that, so it's definitely not, and I don't see it as an anti-global situation. I think it will be a more conservative Republican capitalism, value delivery oriented administration. This is what we expect. And I think increasingly, if you look at myself, I have lived in California now for the last 28 years. I'm a US citizen, and people ask me about visa issues, and I said, yeah, my visa issue is I need a visa to come to India. So I don't expect, I think that if we are able to transform ourselves towards a culture of innovation, a culture of delivering value, a culture of software and automation, I think that all this visa talk and these things will be behind us. As long as we keep executing on transforming the nature of our relationships with our clients, which we have been able to do, I think that the good revenues and the good numbers will follow from there. But 8 to 9 is what we see right now, and if we see a reason to change that, obviously our endeavor is to not be limited by anything like that. I personally live my life on this principle that the future doesn't have to be an increment of the past. So we have said what we said based on what we saw at the time, and but our endeavor is to continue to deliver the very best performance that we can. And then as much as we see things, we share that with the market.
But specifically, if I were to ask you about BFSI, and that seems to be the pain point not just for you but for the industry as a whole, and you haven't done so badly as far as BFSI is concerned. In fact,
we have done very well.
Yeah, 5% growth. Do you believe that you can build on that? Do you believe that this is likely to continue?
Absolutely. I think that, we tend to, in our industry, we tend to overplay the so-called secular effect. As a percentage, our percentage of the spend of our clients is typically so small that the only time when impacts really show up is where we were doing something, some projects or programs that end up getting affected because of some client-specific reasons. Other than that, these big macro trends impacting things is generally overstated by everybody in the industry.
You're saying that the Brexit impacts or the Trump impact is overstated?
It's always overstated. Yeah, the 2020 aspiration, absolutely. This is what good is an aspiration if it is not aspirational? I said that back in October of 2014, you have to establish a you know, a great target that is something that can motivate us. We don't have a plan.
Achievable, not out of reach.
No,
Given
no.
where you see things today.
No, absolutely not. I mean, the thing is, you cannot plan for something like that, right? Steve Jobs always said that you can only connect the dots looking backward. So 2020, 20 billion and 30% and 80,000 is such a steep target that you cannot connect the dots forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So what you can do, however, is set up the team, set up the organization, set up the priorities and the initiatives to ensure that they set you up for that.
That was a big exclusive interview of the day, but meanwhile